The insignificant species. The Galactic Confederation's central chamber buzzed with its usual activity. Holographic displays flickered across its crystalline walls, showing real-time data from a million worlds. Supreme Coordinator Valthera watched from her elevated platform, her iridescent scales shifting colors with each breath. For 10,000 cycles, the Confederation had maintained order across the known galaxy through technological superiority and careful control of emerging civilizations. Supreme Coordinator called out First Observer Zixtal, his tentacles wrapping nervously around his control panel. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures from Sector 742. Valthera's inner eyelids flickered with mild annoyance. Sector 742 was a backwater region, home to several pre-FTL civilizations of little consequence. Source: the third planet of the Sol system, Earth. The name sparked a moment of recognition. Earth, home to the humans, a species that had barely managed to reach their own moon just a few centuries ago. The Confederation had classified them as a Level 2 civilization, capable of planetary travel, but far from achieving any real galactic presence. Elaborate, Valthera commanded, more out of protocol than interest. The energy signatures, they're unlike anything in our databases. They appear to be emanating from multiple points around their planet and several orbital facilities. The scale is unprecedented for their technological level. For the first time in decades, Valthera felt a twinge of curiosity. She descended from her platform, her hover field humming softly as she approached the main display. The holographic representation of Earth's solar system materialized before her, dotted with mysterious energy readings that pulsed like stellar heartbeats. Why wasn't this detected earlier? She demanded. Zixtal's tentacles twisted uncomfortably. The humans appear to have developed some form of energy masking technology. Our standard monitoring systems categorized the readings as background radiation until they reached this magnitude. The chamber fell silent. Energy masking technology was strictly regulated by the Confederation. Even some member species weren't permitted to possess it. The fact that humans had developed it independently was concerning. Access historical data on human technological progression, Valthera ordered. The AI systems compiled the information instantly, projecting a timeline that made several council members shift uneasily. Human technological advancement had been exponential over the past century, far exceeding standard developmental models. They had progressed from primitive combustion engines to quantum computing in a fraction of the time it had taken other species. "They're persistent, I'll grant them that," remarked Council Elder Kovacs, his crystalline form refracting light as he spoke. "But they're divided, primitive. Their nations still wage wars over resources and ideology. They pose no threat to galactic stability." Valthera wasn't so certain. Something about these energy readings troubled her. They spoke of coordination, of purpose, of ambition that exceeded the Confederation's carefully maintained boundaries. "Deploy deep space monitors," she commanded. "I want to know exactly what they're building." The response came faster than anyone expected. Within moments, the chamber's displays lit up with new data streams. The humans had detected their monitors, impossible for a Level 2 civilization, and were broadcasting a message on all frequencies. The message was short, transmitted in perfect galactic standard. "To the Galactic Confederation. Your presence is noted. We cordially invite your representatives to witness humanity's formal introduction to the galactic community. Coordinates and time follow." Valthera felt her scales ripple with unease. The message's tone wasn't that of an inferior species seeking recognition. It carried the weight of certainty, of a power that knew its worth. "They're baiting us," Kovacs warned. "We should respond with a show of force. Remind them of their place." "No," Valthera decided, surprising herself. "We'll accept their invitation, but we'll do so prepared." She turned to address the full council, her voice carrying the authority of 10 millennia of Confederation rule. "Humanity has been dancing on the edge of our awareness for too long." They've developed technologies in secret, masked their activities from our sensors, and now they dare to invite us as equals. Whatever they've built, whatever they think gives them the right to challenge the established order, we must see it firsthand. The Supreme Coordinator's gaze swept across the chamber. Prepare the diplomatic fleet. Arm the escort vessels. We will meet these humans on their terms, but we will remind them that the galaxy has an order we have maintained since their ancestors were drawing pictures in caves. As the council chambers emptied and preparations began, Valthera remained before the holographic display of Earth. The energy signatures pulsed with an almost mocking regularity, like a countdown to something inevitable. For the first time in centuries, she felt something she hadn't expected: uncertainty. The humans had always been an anomaly. While other species developed in predictable patterns, humans seemed to leap forward in chaotic bursts of innovation. They failed often, but each failure seemed to drive them harder, make them more determined. They were messy, inefficient, and somehow that made them dangerous. "What are you hiding?" she whispered to the holographic Earth, rotating slowly before her. "What have you built in our shadow?" The answer would come soon enough. But as the diplomatic fleet began its preparation sequence, Valthera couldn't shake the feeling that the Galactic Confederation was about to discover that its careful categorization of primitive species had been a grave miscalculation. Project Atlas. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, her eyes fixed on the massive construction yards that stretched across the moon's dark side. 20 years of secrecy, of unified human purpose, all leading to this moment. The project that had started as humanity's insurance policy against galactic domination had evolved into something far more ambitious. "Admiral, they've taken the bait," reported Commander Jackson, his holographic form materializing beside her. "The Confederation fleet is en route. ETA 6 hours. Chen allowed herself a small smile. "And our sensors, tracking their every move. The quantum mesh network is performing exactly as designed. They think they're being subtle with their combat vessels hiding in subspace, but we can see them all." The Admiral nodded, her attention drawn to the massive structure taking shape in the construction yards. Project Atlas wasn't just a ship or a station. It was humanity's declaration of technological independence, a machine that defied conventional understanding of physics and engineering. "Status report from all sections," she commanded. The air filled with holographic displays, each showing different aspects of the project. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, head of the Quantum Engineering Division, appeared first. "The zero-point energy matrix is stable," she reported. "The accident in beta testing actually led to a breakthrough. We're now generating more power than the entire energy consumption of Earth's history, every second." Next came Dr. Quaim O.C., lead of the materials science team. "The metacrystalline hull structure is complete. The self-repairing properties are exceeding expectations. It doesn't just resist damage, it adapts and evolves." Chen remembered the early days of the project, when the world's nations had finally understood the truth. Unity wasn't just an ideal, it was a survival requirement. The discovery of alien monitoring devices in Earth's orbit had been a wake-up call. Humanity couldn't afford to stay divided, not with advanced civilizations watching, waiting for signs of weakness. "Admiral," called out Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka, her voice tight with excitement. "The last pieces are locking into place. Atlas it's singing." Chen knew what she meant. The massive structure had begun emitting harmonics that resonated at a quantum level, a side effect of its unprecedented integration of organic and mechanical systems. It wasn't just a machine anymore. It was something entirely new. "What's the status of the neural interface?" Chen asked, turning to Dr. Sarah Walkingbear, who headed the consciousness integration team. "The collective consciousness matrix is stable," Walkingbear replied. "We've successfully linked over 10,000 volunteers into the system. They're not just controlling Atlas, they're becoming Atlas, while maintaining their individual identities. The quantum consciousness expansion is holding steady." This was what made Project Atlas truly revolutionary. It wasn't just its size, though it's several hundred kilometers across. It dwarfed anything humanity had built before. It wasn't just its power, though it could harness the energy of a small star. What made Atlas unique was its fusion of human consciousness with quantum computing and engineered matter. "The Confederation thinks they're coming to put us in our place," Chen said, addressing her command staff. "They expect to find primitives playing with technology we barely understand. Instead, they're going to meet something they've never imagined possible." The observation deck fell silent as Atlas performed another transformation. Its surface rippled like liquid metal, metacrystalline structures rearranging themselves into new configurations. The quantum harmonics shifted, creating patterns that seemed to echo through reality itself. "They're not ready for this," Commander Jackson said softly. "No one could be." Chen understood his awe. Atlas wasn't just a weapon or a defense system. It was humanity's answer to a galaxy that thought it had everything figured out. While the Confederation had stagnated, comfortable in their technological superiority, humanity had been pushing boundaries they didn't even know existed. "Send word to all stations," Chen ordered. "Begin final preparations for the demonstration. When the Confederation arrives, I want Atlas to be ready to show them exactly what humanity is capable of." As her orders were relayed, Chen reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The Confederation had watched Earth for centuries, categorizing humans as primitive, unworthy of serious attention. They had never understood that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their resources. It was in their relentless drive to surpass their limitations. Atlas was proof of that drive. It represented thousands of breakthroughs in physics, engineering, consciousness studies, and fields of science that didn't even have names yet. Every failure in its development had led to new discoveries. Every setback had sparked new innovations. "Admiral," called out Lieutenant Santos from his monitoring station, "we're detecting quantum ripples. The Confederation fleet is beginning deceleration procedures." Chen straightened her uniform, a gesture that carried the weight of humanity's hopes and determination. "Very well. Let's give them a proper welcome. Initiate Atlas awakening sequence. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just ready to join their community. We're ready to revolutionize it." The massive structure began to pulse with internal light, each wave of energy perfectly controlled, each quantum fluctuation precisely calculated. Atlas was awakening, and with it, humanity's future was about to unfold in ways the galaxy could never have predicted. The unveiling. Supreme Coordinator Valthera stood rigid on the bridge of her flagship as it emerged from hyperspace into the Sol system. The diplomatic fleet materialized behind her in perfect formation, their escort vessels hidden in subspace, ready to respond to any threat. But nothing in her 10,000 years of experience had prepared her for what she saw. "Impossible," whispered Elder Kovacs, his crystalline form vibrating with shock. The lunar surface had been transformed. Where their intelligence had shown barren craters, there now stood a sprawling complex of structures that defied conventional architecture. But that wasn't what had stunned the Confederation fleet into silence. It was what floated above them. A massive construct hung in space, its surface shifting like liquid starlight. It wasn't just large. It was vast enough to make the Confederation's greatest installations look like children's toys. But its size wasn't what made it extraordinary. The structure seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, parts of it phasing in and out of normal space-time in a hypnotic dance. "We are being hailed," announced Zixtel, his tentacles trembling slightly. "The humans are broadcasting on all frequencies, including several we didn't know existed." Valthera forced her voice to remain steady. "Accept transmission." The holographic display materialized, showing the human female in a crisp uniform. "Supreme Coordinator Valthera, I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Welcome to Sol System." "Admiral Chen," Valthera acknowledged, fighting to maintain her diplomatic composure. "Your invitation was unexpected." as was your level of technological advancement. Chen's smile held a hint of satisfaction. We thought it was time to properly introduce ourselves to the galactic community. Would you and your delegation care to dock? We've prepared facilities that should accommodate all known Confederation species comfortably. Valthera's inner eyelids flickered rapidly, a sign of stress that she couldn't quite suppress. The human spoke as if hosting the galaxy's most powerful civilization was a routine matter. More disturbing was the casual mention of all known Confederation species, the level of intelligence gathering that implied. Your hospitality is appreciated, Valthera responded carefully. However, I must ask, what exactly are we looking at? This, Chen gestured to the massive structure behind her, is Atlas. Though calling it simply a structure would be like calling a star a worn rock. Perhaps it's better if we show you. The massive construct pulsed once, and suddenly Valthera felt a presence brush against her mind, gentle but unmistakably vast. Around her, the entire bridge crew stiffened as they felt it too. Atlas is alive, Chen explained. Not in any conventional sense, but as a fusion of human consciousness, quantum computing, and engineered matter. It's both a place and a being, a tool and a partner. And it's just the beginning of what humanity has achieved, while your monitoring systems watched our primitive rockets and classified us as insignificant. Valthera felt her careful diplomatic mask cracking. How long have you known about our surveillance? We detected your monitoring devices centuries ago, Chen replied. We chose to let them remain, feeding them carefully curated data while we worked. Your assumption of our technological inferiority was useful. The implications hit Valthera like a physical blow. Every report, every analysis that had classified humans as a primitive species had been based on what the humans had wanted them to see. Atlas represents thousands of technological breakthroughs, Chen continued. Zero-point energy generation, consciousness transference, quantum phase manipulation. But more importantly, it represents humanity's potential when we work together. We've achieved in decades what took other civilizations millennia. The construct shifted again, its surface rippling with patterns that seemed to fold space itself. Valthera realized with growing unease that her sensors couldn't properly analyze it. The technology was too far beyond Confederation science. Your invitation mentioned a formal introduction to the galactic community, Valthera said, choosing her words carefully. What exactly are your intentions? Chen's expression remained diplomatic but firm. We're not interested in dominion or conquest, Supreme Coordinator, but we are interested in change. The Confederation's practice of suppressing emerging civilizations, of maintaining power through technological superiority. That ends today. Atlas is our guarantee of that. As if in response to Chen's words, the construct's surface blazed with internal light. Energy readings spiked across every sensor in the Confederation fleet, and for a moment, Valthera saw something that shook her to her core. Reflections of other Atlases, existing in parallel dimensions, all connected, all aware. This is not a negotiation, Chen continued, her voice gentle but resolute. This is a notification. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community, not as subjects to be controlled, but as equals. We bring with us advances in science, technology, and consciousness that could benefit all species. The question is the Confederation ready to evolve beyond its role as a galactic gatekeeper? The question hung in space between them, heavy with implications. Valthera looked at Atlas again, understanding finally what she was seeing. Not just a display of power, but a mirror showing the Confederation's complacency, their assumption of superiority, and the price of underestimating humanity's potential. The age of Confederation dominance was over. A new era was beginning, sparked by a species they had dismissed as primitive. And Valthera knew that her next words would determine whether that new era began with cooperation or conflict. Power shift. News of Atlas spread across the galaxy like a quantum shockwave. On 1,000 worlds, Beings of all species gathered around holographic displays, watching footage of the massive construct that had shattered 10 millennia of Confederation dominance. But in the Centauri trading hub, aboard a station that served as neutral ground for countless species, the impact of humanity's revelation was playing out in real time. Merchant Prince Kizoth, a member of the scaled Dreadnought species, watched his financial empire crumble on the market displays before him. The Confederation's technological monopoly had been the foundation of countless fortunes, including his own. Now, with humanity's emergence, those monopolies were worthless. "They're calling it the Atlas effect," his aide reported, sliding another data crystal across the desk. "Every major trading house is in free fall. The humans aren't just offering advanced technology. They're offering to teach others how to develop it themselves." In the lower levels of the hub, where smaller species gathered in crowded bars and trading floors, the mood was different. Celebration mixed with disbelief as centuries of Confederation control began to crack. "Did you see it?" a young Nexilian engineer asked, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with excitement. "The quantum phase shifting alone. It violates everything we thought we knew about physics, and they're offering to share it." The ripples reached the Confederation's oldest colonies, where ancient species had grown comfortable in their supposed superiority. On Sand Prime, the crystalline beings who had helped establish the Confederation's original power structure faced their first serious challenge in millennia. High Elder Synthix called an emergency session of the Sand Consensus. "We must respond to this threat immediately," he declared, his facets flashing with agitation. "The humans have concealed their true nature from us. They cannot be trusted with such power." But for the first time in living memory, younger voices dared to disagree. "Why not?" asked Coordinator Lix, her newly formed crystals gleaming. "They've had this power for years, watching us monitor them, and they chose to reveal themselves peacefully. They're offering cooperation, not conquest." Back aboard Atlas, Admiral Chen received a constant stream of communications from across the galaxy. Some were threats, others pledges of allegiance, but most were simply questions. Countless species reaching out, hoping to understand what humanity's emergence meant for them. Another delegation requesting permission to dock, Commander Jackson reported. This time it's representatives from the Outer Rim colonies. Apparently, they're offering an immediate technology exchange agreement. Chen nodded, watching through Atlas's quantum sensors as ripples of change spread through the galactic community. The construct's vast consciousness network allowed her to perceive these shifts in real time, to see how one species' decisions influenced countless others. "The Confederation's High Council is convening an emergency session," Dr. Rodriguez added, her hologram appearing beside Chen. "Our quantum observers report that several member species are already preparing to declare independence." "And the suppressed worlds?" Chen asked, though Atlas had already shown her the answer. "Rising up," Jackson confirmed. The Confederation's control was based on technological superiority. Now that humanity has proved that barrier can be broken, every species they've kept down is questioning their authority. In the heart of Confederation space, Supreme Coordinator Valthera faced the most difficult session of her long career. The High Council chamber, usually a place of ordered procedure, had descended into chaos. "We cannot allow this." Elder Kavak's rage, his crystalline form pulsing with angry light. "These humans must be contained before they destabilize the entire galaxy." "With what force?" another counselor demanded. "Did you not see their construct? Did you not feel its power? We couldn't contain them if we tried." Valthera raised her hand for silence, her scales shifting through colors of deep thought. "Perhaps," she said carefully, "containment is no longer the answer. For millennia, we have maintained order through control. But these humans, they offer a different path." The chamber fell silent as Valthera continued. "They've achieved what we thought impossible, not just technological advancement, but a new way of existence itself. And they did it not through conquest or domination, but through cooperation and innovation. In the quantum spaces between normal reality, Atlas continued its work. The construct's network expanded, touching minds across the galaxy, sharing not just knowledge but understanding. Humanity's gift to the galaxy wasn't just technology, it was possibility. On 1,000 worlds, beings looked up at their skies with new eyes. The age of Confederation control was ending. But unlike previous power shifts in galactic history, this one didn't promise just a new master. It promised freedom. Freedom to develop, to innovate, to reach beyond imposed limitations. And in the darkness between stars, other atlases were taking shape, each one a testament to humanity's vision of a galaxy where power meant not the ability to control, but the choice to cooperate. The universe was changing, one mind at a time, one world at a time, as species everywhere began to understand what humanity had known all along. The greatest power wasn't in domination, but in the potential to become something more than you were. New Dawn. 1 year after the unveiling of Atlas, the galaxy had transformed in ways that even humanity hadn't fully anticipated. The grand chamber of the newly formed Galactic Alliance bore witness to this change. Unlike the hierarchical structure of the old Confederation Council, this chamber was designed as a sphere, with no position elevated above others. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered here, including many that had been deemed too primitive for representation just a year before. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at her designated platform, Atlas's quantum presence humming at the edge of her consciousness. Beside her, Supreme Coordinator Valthera, now serving as one of many equal representatives, adjusted her ceremonial robes. "I never imagined I would see this day," Valthera admitted, her scales shifting through colors of wonder and acceptance. 1,000 years of tradition, transformed in mere months. Chen smiled, watching as delegates from across the galaxy filed in. Former Confederation powerhouses sat alongside recently uplifted species, each now holding equal voice in galactic affairs. The chamber's quantum translation field ensured perfect understanding between all parties, one of many technologies humanity had shared. "The first Atlas was just the beginning," Chen replied, gesturing to the holographic display showing hundreds of similar constructs now scattered throughout the galaxy. Each one unique, adapted to the species that helped create it. Each one connected, sharing knowledge across the quantum network. The Dreadnought delegation passed by, led by none other than former merchant Prince Kizoth. He had surprised everyone by becoming one of the strongest advocates for the new system after recognizing that shared prosperity generated more wealth than hoarded technology ever could. "Tell me, Admiral," Valthera said, watching the chamber fill, "did humanity plan all this? Was this the goal from the beginning?" Chen considered the question carefully. "We planned to change the galaxy, yes, but this specific outcome? No. We knew that revealing Atlas would shatter the old power structures, but what emerged? That was shaped by every species' choices, including yours." She nodded toward the center of the chamber, where a holographic representation of the galaxy floated. Thousands of points of light marked the locations of Atlas constructs, each pulsing in harmony with the others. But these weren't weapons or tools of control. They were centers of learning, innovation, and cooperation. The young Maxillian engineer Chen had met months ago was now leading a team developing new applications for quantum phase technology. The former suppressed worlds had formed their own research coalitions, combining their unique perspectives with newly available technology to solve problems that had plagued their civilizations for generations. "Order through control was always an illusion," Chen continued. "Real stability comes from choice, from species choosing to work together because it benefits everyone. Atlas showed the galaxy what was possible, but each civilization chose how to use that knowledge." The chamber quieted as the session began. The agenda today included proposals for new joint scientific ventures, plans for rehabilitating worlds damaged by centuries of resource exploitation, and strategies for integrating even more emerging civilizations into the galactic community. "There are still those who resist," Valthera noted, thinking of the handful of former Confederation hardliners who had retreated to the outer regions, clinging to their old ways. There always will be, Chen acknowledged. Change is frightening, especially for those who benefited from the old system. But look around this chamber. Look at what we've achieved in just 1 year. The evidence was undeniable. Technological advancement had accelerated across all member species. The quantum consciousness network that Atlas had pioneered had evolved into a galactic repository of knowledge, accessible to all who wished to learn. Worlds that had once been stripped for resources were being restored through cooperative efforts. The humans of my childhood would never have believed this possible, Chen said, watching as representatives from former enemy species worked together on shared projects. We spent so much of our history fighting among ourselves, but when we finally united, when we poured all that competitive drive into innovation instead of conflict, you changed everything, Valthera finished, though not in the way many feared you would. When we first detected Atlas, we thought you would use it to dominate us as we had dominated others. Instead, we offered partnership, Chen said, because that's what we learned while building Atlas. The greatest achievements don't come from one species working alone. They come from combining perspectives, from sharing knowledge, from building upon each other's strengths. The session was fully underway now, with representatives from across the galaxy presenting new discoveries, sharing solutions to common problems, and proposing joint ventures between species that would have been unthinkable a year ago. Through Atlas's quantum network, Chen could feel the pulse of this new galactic civilization. Not a rigid hierarchy, but a living, growing ecosystem of cultures and ideas. Humanity had indeed changed the galaxy, not by force but by example. They had shown that the path to advancement didn't have to be marked by suppression and control. As she watched the proceedings, Chen thought about the future. Atlas and its siblings would continue to grow, to evolve, shaped by the combined consciousness of all species who chose to contribute. The galaxy was entering an age of unprecedented cooperation and discovery. A new dawn indeed, Valthera murmured, as if reading her thoughts. Though I suspect even this is just the beginning. Chen nodded, feeling Atlas's agreement resonating through the quantum field. They had shattered the old barriers, broken free of artificial limitations, and shown the galaxy a better way. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them not as dominant and subjugated species, but as equals, each contributing their unique strengths to the greater whole. The age of control was over. The age of possibility had begun.